Hello everyone, I'm Carrie.
And I'm Dave.
And we are from Healthy Vegan Planet. And we just wanted to introduce ourselves to you. We started Healthy Vegan Planet to bring the vegan community together and to also make new vegans or people who are interested in becoming vegan, make that transition easier. So let's start with you, Dave. Why don't you start by telling everyone why you're vegan?
I'm vegan because I love animals. I've always loved animals, and I knew it. I ate meat most of my life, and finally came to terms with if I love them so much, why am I eating them? So yeah, that's why I'm vegan now.
Okay, and how about a little bit of your background, like where you grew up and what was your family life like?
I grew up in a family of 4 in Grimsby, Ontario, and we ate meat 3 times a day. And we were led to believe by school and by my parents that, and others, that meat was what you were supposed to eat every day. And it turns out that that's not so true.
Yes, this is true. Okay, so what about like jobs that you may have had when you were younger? Because you just woke up one day and decided you're going to be vegan. There must have been some triggers along the way, as usually is the case, that got you to feel differently about animals.
Well, when I was a kid, we did have pets. We had a cat, and loved that cat, of course. But I had guinea pigs when I was a child as well, and loved them to death as well. So I always knew I was watching nature shows and just was fascinated with a lot of kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Then when I was about 15, I got a job as a chicken catcher and chicken and turkey catcher. And through that process of going to the barns and seeing what was happening in there, I knew it wasn't great, and the environment was terrible for them. There'd be a sea of birds in this huge barn, and it was dusty and smelly and really gross. But that was a way we could make money. Back then, you could make $2.15 an hour at McDonald's, or you could do chicken catching for 3 hours and make $20 an hour. So it was something we did. And we'd go in and catch chickens. You'd creep up on them, and you're almost crawling up to them, kneeling and squatting, and you'd grab 3 birds with 1 leg at a time in one hand, and 4 birds in the other hand by 1 leg each, and pick them up and drag them off to the trucker who was standing on top of crates in his truck, and you'd hand him the chickens, and he'd stuff them into a crate, and I think he was putting like 14 in a crate at a time, stuffed them in there, and then stacked these crates up higher and higher and higher. Same thing with turkeys. There'd be a sea of turkeys on the floor of the barn, and you'd creep up behind the birds. They'd dim the lights down in the chicken barn and the turkey barn. They'd always do it at night. It was between 9 and midnight you would do all your chicken and turkey catching. And you'd creep up on the turkey, and you would grab the 2 legs and squeeze them together one at a time on 2 turkeys. Squeeze their legs together and flip them down. So then you would drag them, their heads dragging on the ground, across the floor of the barn to the trucker, and in turn you would hand them up. And throughout that whole process, the smell and the dust and everything was flying around. It was just horrible. You'd find dead birds throughout the whole process as well. You could actually smell them before you got to them. You couldn't see them because the lights were dimmed, and you'd reach up and you'd feel a dead bird there. You couldn't really see it until you got to it, but you could smell it. And it was just one of the grossest jobs I ever had. And it was hard to, you knew it wasn't right to do all this. And it wasn't fair to the birds at all in any way. But that's what you did for money back then. And without thinking about it, because you were so conditioned and brainwashed that this is what we do. We collect birds and turkeys, and you put them on the trucker, and off they go. Mm-hmm, it was a disgusting job.
Totally disassociated with what was happening there through years of brainwashing, obviously, and just you're grown to believe that this is the way you provide, right? Is by killing animals and birds, and among other things. Okay, and I know you, Dave, you were also a hunter. You kind of carried on from bird catching, which you did for how long?
I did that for about 1.5 years, the chickens and birds. And I would come home from that job, and I had to change in the garage. My parents wouldn't let me in the house with that clothing on because it stunk so bad, and there was bird feces and guts and whatever all over your clothing. Mm-hmm. So I'd have to strip naked into my underwear and then come into the house and have a shower and leave all my clothing out in the garage. And the next night, 9 o'clock, the guy would pick you up in the van, and 12 of us would get in there, and we'd drag us off to the different barns to empty them out.
Yeah, and one thing I was amazed at, because Dave has all this experience in the chicken catching industry. When we drove by a chicken barn, and I said to Dave, "So when do the chickens go out? Like every other day or once a week or something?" Because in my mind, the chickens are well cared for in these barns, and they take the chickens out and clean the barns and, get all that urine and feces and maybe the diseased animals, get them out, the dead ones, just clean everything up. And you said, no, they don't take the chickens out. This is how the chickens live. And they live for how long like that?
Well, back then they weren't raising, like they didn't grow them as quickly. With the way they bred them now is much different. They grow much faster. So back then, I think they would keep them like 13 weeks in this barn.
13 weeks they lived in this filth and breathing that ammonia and breathing all that in. So many of them have respiratory issues, and no wonder. It's just a horrific experience.
Yeah, the floor is built up of probably like 4 inches of dust and feathers and feces and just a mess. It was a total disaster in there.
Yeah.
Later on, I did, in my 20s, I raised 50 chickens and 50 turkeys in the backyard every year to be butchered. That was also something you just did because you were conditioned to believe that you were feeding your family and providing money for the family as well.
Even though you can, easily not eat that. That's all.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah. Back then, that's what you did.
You
And I would load them into a trailer, and I'd get crates from the slaughterhouse, bring the crates home, put my own birds in there, drive them over to the slaughterhouse, which is a local little slaughterhouse outside of Hagersville, Ontario. And I remember driving by there all the time, going to my other job at that time, and I would see signs like "Help Wanted," and now I know why there was always "Help Wanted" signs, because it was a disgusting job.
And it's hard on the soul as well.
Yeah.
It would be.
Yeah, but that was something I was doing, and not knowing, if the birds and turkeys and chickens had feelings and could feel pain and suffering. I was just so conditioned to believe that this is what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Looking back now, it's awful, but yeah.
Yeah, and then what we were going to talk about was hunting as well.
Yes, hunting.
And fishing.
I had 2 brother-in-laws at the time who were into hunting, so I picked up the hunting thing, and we would go out hunting and hunt for rabbits and partridge and deer and moose, and we'd go out there. I've shot all kinds of rabbits and partridge and deer, and it's what you were conditioned to do. You're providing for your family. You're out there trying to do this, and everyone. I think we're all carnivores at one time. So everyone comes from a past and things you did, and I not happy about what I did back then. But everyone has a past of being a carnivore. I wasn't born a vegan, so
very few people are, but more and more as the years go on.
Yeah. It was okay it wouldn't hurt so bad. I didn't really come to recognize anything until like killing the partridge and the rabbits, and they were small animals, so it was kind of easier. Even when I was doing the chickens and turkeys in my backyard, I butchered some of those myself as well. And you're doing it at the time, you're like, oh, this is awful, but you're thinking, well, it's my family, it's for the money, it's for this is what we do. But with the deer, when I shot my first deer, a bunch of local farmers were out pushing the bush as they do. A bunch of guys line up along a row. Other guys that come through with dogs, and or just the farmers coming through barking like dogs. And they would push the deer into you as you're hiding in wait for these deer to come through. And one came out in front of me, and sure enough, I shot it. And as I walked up to it to see what I had there, and it was still alive, it was still breathing. And I could see it looking at me, and so I come up to this deer that's laying there, barely breathing and looking at me straight in the eyes, and I knew it was suffering, so I shot it in the head with my shotgun. And at that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I killed this deer, and then in my mind, I played back, well, that's what I'm here for. That's why we're all here. We're all out hunting, and that's why I did this, because that's what we're supposed to do. So the other farmers come around and checked it out, brought their deer, and they actually I shot a deer, another fellow shot a deer that day, and they also brought on a wolf that had been chased out of the woods as well. They shot the wolf because wolf killed the local sheep that are out there, and some of the baby cows. The wolves would take those, so they shoot the wolf as well. It was hard to take. But at the time I reassured myself that this is why we're out here. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to eat meat, and this is providing for my family, and all the local guys out there, they were all doing it too, and they had no problem with it. They've been doing it for years, and that was my first deer that I shot, and it did affect me. I knew it affected me, but I let it ride. I go, okay, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And then later again, I shot another deer later on, and that was also traumatic. It hurt me in the heart as well after I shot it. I went, hey, you know what? It was presented to me at that time, right at that moment. If it wasn't supposed to happen, that deer wouldn't have been there, and I wouldn't have been out there with my gun, but I was. And so I shot that deer as well. That was the second deer I shot. And that also had an effect on me as well, that I knew something's quite not right here in my philosophy that I love animals, yet here I've some animals I love and other ones I don't. It just wasn't adding up.
It's amazing how you just try and put those feelings aside, even though you have them. We're bred or conditioned to, like you say, ignore that and just carry on. And eventually, how did it come to be that, now you're vegan after being a hunter and you fished, obviously?
Yeah, I did a lot of fishing as well. Right from a very young age, my father would take us out, my brother and I, and we would go fishing. And it's just, that's what you do. You catch a fish. We didn't eat a lot of the fish. We'd let them go. But the same sense, you're hooking it in the mouth and you're dragging it through the water, and now it's sucking out, trying to get oxygen, and you put it back in the water. But whether it survived or didn't survive, hard to say.
Yeah.
It was still cruel. All of that was very cruel. But it's what we are supposed to do.
Okay, so you go from doing all that to now you're vegan. How did you make that transition? Like, what was it that made you... Did you wake up one day and say...
Well, it was from hearing, I guess, that you don't need to eat meat to survive. And then back when I went vegan 8 years ago, and then prior to that we were vegetarian 8 years before that, the information, the internet wasn't out there. Google and YouTube and all that kind of stuff wasn't there. But being educated that you don't need meat to survive, milk, dairy, and dairy, eggs, and meat, you don't need that to survive. And then seeing images of people that are well off, healthy and fit, and all that kind of stuff, and they're not eating meat. So it just made sense to me that if I really wanted to align my heart with what my actions were, it was to not eat meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, good for you. So my situation, a bit different than Dave's. I was not a chicken catcher or anything like that, but I grew up in a family with two older sisters, and we ate a lot of meat. My dad loved T-bone steak. That was like his thing. So we had T-bone steak at least once a week, along with all other than meat. Like, we were big meat eaters. And Dave and I got together and we did a lot of fishing together. We tried to go hunting together, but that didn't really work out. I couldn't pull the trigger. Something in me was saying no. So maybe that was one of my early triggers. I don't really know. But we did a lot of fishing, and Dave and I, a lot of meat eating. And one day we were changing some windows in our house, and Dave was taking out the window and it was broken. So it was like sliced in half, the one bottom pane, and we had some stairs. So he had the window and he's carrying it. And I said, oh, Dave, do you want me to help you with the window? Like, grab the other end kind of thing. He says, no, I got it. So he's walking down the stairs, the back of the window hits the top stair, and I'm watching this whole thing unfold. The sliced piece that was still in the window came out of the window and stuck into the ground like a dagger, and he was continuing walking, and he stepped into the glass, and it sliced his leg, and then it sliced it on the way back. Like, so can you show your leg? Like, seriously, show it?
No, I don't see. I think it's the gone.
This was
this was a while ago.
I don't know, 16 years ago. And let me just grab the phone here and let's see. Is that the right leg? That's not even the right leg, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. So here it is. It's this and this. So it's a V. And of course, for vegan. Right?
Well, it was a-
But anyway,
It was a
that's what we
sign.
think now.
It was a sign, which we realized later.
So he cut his leg. Okay, blood everywhere. I said, okay, I'm going to go grab the keys. You get in the van. And luckily the hospital was just down the road. So we were good. Get him all fixed up. He's got
Well, 33 stitches inside and 33
Yeah, it was
stitches
quite a
outside. It was
gash.
a big gash.
this. But, so we get him home and he's got this big V on his leg, you know. So my brother-in-law Victor's kind of laughing, oh, ho, ho, you marked yourself for me. And all this funny stuff happened.
Victor, but I said, no, it's for Vicious. Like,
Yeah, Sid Vicious or anyway. So okay, so I have his flip flop. Okay, his flip flop filled with blood, and it was just sitting on the floor of the van. So I was like, oh, I got to clean this out. So I get the flip flop and I dump the blood out onto the grass, and I bring the flip flop in, and I'm cleaning it, and I can smell the blood because it's quite a bit. And to me, at that moment, the blood smelled like, you know, when you open a package of meat, like I was saying ground beef is what it reminded me of. You open a package of ground beef and sometimes you get that whiff of like, really it's death or blood or the meat, the smell of it. That's what I got. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this smells like ground beef. And I'm like, should I lick this sandal? No, that's disgusting. That was my moment where I thought, this is our blood, and this is no different to me, smell-wise and probably taste-wise, than an animal's blood. And at that moment, that was my change. I said to Dave when he came home, I think I said the next morning, I'm no longer going to eat meat. I can't do it. I've put these two and two together, and I think my brain has made a switch or something. I just can't do it. So that was fine. We had still meat from our previous grocery shop in the freezer, in the fridge, and Dave continued to eat meat until really that was gone. I was going back to the grocery store, and you said at that moment,
well, no, we said I said, don't buy any meat for me. That's good for me. And we went to vegetarian. That was our
we
lifestyle
changed
at
to
that
the
point.
two of us then were
Like,
vegetarian.
okay, we're vegetarian.
Full time. And for myself, anyway, I didn't put together the dairy that, like, you know, we're so brainwashed, and everyone's brainwashed to believe the marketing out there that says dairy is good for you. You know, it's strong bones and healthy teeth, and you need it to be a productive member of society and all this stuff. And we believed it still. I didn't think there's anything wrong with dairy. You know, these cows, they have to be milked. Otherwise, who knows, they might explode or this kind of thing. We also ate eggs as well. So we were vegetarian, like typical vegetarians, right? We weren't educated in the poultry, the egg, and dairy industry. And then really, it was just one day, I wake up in the morning, Dave's already up, and he says, I think we should be vegan. I'm going vegan, and I think we both should go vegan. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to, like, that sounded extreme. It sounded strange.
I'm not too good at going half in. I'm all in or I'm not in at all.
This is so true. Yeah. And I was like, but I love cheese and I love chocolate, you know, milk chocolate, bars, and I don't want to do that. Like, that's too much. And he said, well, all he said to me was, you know, Carrie, the dairy industry is probably as horrendous as the meat industry and poultry. And I thought about it for a second, and I said, yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
So then we educated ourselves and watched some documentaries like Forks Over Knives, which is excellent. We also watched Cowspiracy. Pignorant is a new one, which is excellent.
Yeah.
Everyday Vegan Stories. Like, there's a bunch of them out there, and I was just, the trauma of it all is just horrible. So that's a bit of our story. I don't know, there's probably tons of things to add, but that's a bit of our background.
Yeah. I have to say, it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah. And we've done some crazy stuff, but
Done some good stuff, but this
quit
is the
a lot
best
of
thing.
things in our lives. But It is. It
Yeah.
is the best thing. It's good for the soul. It's good for your health. It's great for the environment. And of course, it's great for the animals.
Yeah, some people that have influenced over the last couple of years for us to become sort of activated in this is Ed Winters and Joey Carbstrong and a bunch of other people that are out there on YouTube, and they're
Dr. Caldwell, Dr. Esselstein, like there's just so many,
Yeah.
so many.
for the animals and for the planet and for your health. Really, this is the reasons why we're vegan, mainly for the animals. It's if you love them, how can you eat them? How can you torture them and cause them suffering? I just can't. If I'm going to align my true self with what's going on out there, then this one I've got to do it. And frankly, it's easy. You eat the same kind of things you used to. You just exchange the meat product out and substitute it with something else. It's really simple, quite simple. Proof is I'm 63 and I'm healthy as anything. No, I don't take any medication. My doctor can't believe it. I'm not on any medication.
Yeah.
Not that I even see a doctor very often, but when I do, they're like, "Well, what meds are you on?" And I'm not on any. Well, hold on now. What do you take? I'm none. I'm really healthy and fit, and I can do whatever I want. And I contribute that somewhat, to eating healthy and not eating animals.
Oh, definitely.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
But you just got to give it a try, and it's one day at a time. And you start slow. Just start with one meal. All you have to do is choose one meal and just make it vegan, and then make the next meal vegan. Make the next meal no meat. It's one day at a time, one meal at a time.
That's right. And
And
we jumped all in, which is rare. Usually people don't. I mean, we were vegetarian for 8 years first, but a lot of people will go slowly into vegan, like Dave suggested, one meal at a time or, 1 week at a time, that kind of thing. However you can do it. There's no pressure. There's no judgment. Just if you can do one meal, we just want to help people make that transition and make it easy, because in reality, it is easy if you're just trying to help the animals. That's great.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the animals.